Hey guys, it's Cleo and Caden from Heights Outdoors. Today we're going to be going over a bit of basic range safety and procedures when you're shooting at our range.
So at Heights Archery, we have two different kind of bow rentals. We have the compounds and we also have the recurves. When you come down, just ask the front desk to rent a bow and we'll come get you set up on the range.
Once we get your target set up for you, we'll go over some basic safety stuff and how to shoot. Once we get onto the range, we use two lines to control our safety. So we have the shooting line and the waiting line. When you're on the line shooting, you're going to make sure you have 1 foot on each side of that line. So you're going to make sure you're straddling that line. And then when you're not shooting, just make sure you're always waiting right behind that waiting line. So once you've got your feet set on the line, you're going to load the bow. When you're loading the bow, you're going to put the arrow right into that little hole on the rest, and the arrow is just going to clip right in between those two little knots on the string. Make sure you actually feel or hear the arrow clip onto the string when you're pulling it, when you're loading it. If you do pull the bow back and shoot it without an arrow, it can break the bow and hurt yourself. So always make sure that you feel or hear the arrow clip onto the string before you try and shoot it. Once you've got the arrow properly loaded onto the bow, you're going to hook your trigger onto that little loop on the string with your palm down to the ground and that trigger arm pointed out away from you. When you start to draw the bow back, make sure you keep your finger behind that trigger as you're pulling back. Once you pull back all the way, you're going to look through the little hole that comes clear in front of your eye, and then looking through that hole, you're going to line that sight onto your target. Once you finish shooting your 3 arrows, you're going to step off the shooting line, put your bow back up on the rack, and then wait behind the waiting line until everyone else has done their 3 arrows as well.
If it's your first time coming down the range, we recommend using the recurve bows here, as they're a little bit easier to start off with, not too much to them. When you're loading up an arrow, you're always going to have the odd color fletching facing towards you. So when you look at the arrow, you'll usually notice 2 purples or something like that, and you always want that one color facing towards you, just so the other 2 are flush with the bow. After that, you're going to make the number 3 with your dominant hand, and you're going to spread out the fingers, so your pointer finger's on top of the arrow, and the other 2 fingers just below. Super important, keep your fingers nice and spread apart, so if you make a fist, you'll knock the arrow off the bow. It gets super annoying, it's really hard to shoot. After that, you're just going to put your arm straight out, you're going to pull all the way back to get that pointer finger to the corner of your mouth. Once you get to the corner of your mouth, you should be able to look down the arrow, you'll see that tip of the arrow, put it on the center of the target, and then just let go. Once everyone comes back from grabbing the arrows and everyone's waiting behind the waiting line, you can grab your bow, come back up to the shooting line, and do it all again.
So you can come on down and give archery a shot.